Starbucks is a globally recognizable name. The image of the green mermaid is iconic. But behind the cozy free Wi-Fi spot lies more than just a pumpkin spice photo op for your next selfie. There lies the power and the potential to rip the banking system's control on the population out from under them. Before we examine the ominous underbelly of this beast, let us first take a look at the Wikipedia-friendly version of the birth and rise of Starbucks. The year was 1970, just when the era of mom-and-pop diners was longer in style and fast food was becoming all the rage. Three college friends, Jerry Baldwin, Zeb Siegel, and Gordon Bowker, decided to team up and get into the coffee bean business. Coffee on the go didn't exist at the time, and it was mostly reserved for home use. They solely sold beans, and they did well enough in these first 2 years that they expanded to 6 stores across Seattle. But when they employed a marketing manager under the name of Howard Schultz, everything changed. He proposed that you could walk into a Starbucks, and while you waited for the store to grind your beans and package them for you, you could sit down and have some coffee and a sandwich. He wanted to create a unique experience to go along with the simple purchase of beans. The ambiance and comfort Schultz advised was a game changer. It held an air of sophistication, but it was still accessible to the public. Starbucks did so well that Schultz bought out the company from the original founders in 1987. And by the mid-90s, Starbucks was a household name. It had over 1,000 stores in the US, and it had even gone international with their brand. Around 2000, Schultz stepped away from US operations and began to focus more on international growth for the company. And his brainchild continued to grow back in the US. By 2006, Starbucks had almost 3,000 stores globally. But trouble was brewing just around the corner. And that trouble came in the form of the 2007 financial crash. Now facing a recession, Starbucks was a luxury item that no one was willing to shell out for in hard times. Stock prices dropped by 50% almost overnight, and the CEOs were looking at a very dark future if they didn't do something. So they brought back the man who originally built them up to the heights that they had now fallen from, the marketing genius Howard Schultz. Howard was disgusted to discover that, in his absence, Starbucks had become as tacky as the average greasy corner shop. Schultz stormed in and closed down stores left and right. He laid off thousands of workers and retrained the remaining staff. He discarded the pump action of the mechanized monstrosities that now dispense their product like some common movie theater soda. The old ways were back, and Starbucks arose from the ashes. In 2017, stronger than ever was when the coffee house met social media and diet culture. Starbucks has proven time and time again that it was very good at adapting to the times. They played into the meme and diet culture perfectly by extending to delivery services, focusing their attention on localized stores instead of pumping out new ones. They started advertising healthier options like fruit drinks, smoothies, iced coffee, and the new Starbucks Reserve Roastery, an upscale version of the Starbucks we frequently visit on our way to work. In its years of operation, Starbucks has never really had any major scandals or lawsuits. By all accounts, the coffee magnate is as squeaky clean as an organization can possibly hope to be. Now, with the vanilla version of Starbucks out of the way, let's head off to the side of Starbucks you won't get from the watered-down articles on the Brew Bureau. It's a snake with many heads, much like its Medusa-inspired logo. So let's break it down for you, because Starbucks is much, much more than a coffee conglomerate. Credit and loyalty cards. Or in the case of Starbucks, a loyalty app. Sephora, Walmart, and Amazon all use loyalty cards, and you know how it works by now. Make a purchase and earn loyalty points. These points translate to discounts on purchases. At the end of the day, they might knock off a few cents from their markup value to make it look like a bargain to you, but they're still making enough to keep their profit margins up. Starbucks started the system as early as 2010. In the next 13 years, they've made the mobile app more interactive. Earning reward stars had the same enjoyable aspect as gameplay. Locations could be shared on social media, further playing into their online face. And most importantly, if you paid with your app instead of cash, you could earn more stars than usual. Don't forget, you can add credit to your Starbucks account too. Are you seeing the billions in their plan yet? Let's explain. Starbucks has built a very loyal and socially valued customer base throughout the years. Unlike other fast food chains, its buyers are usually regulars. And as a regular, you know full well when and how often you're stopping by. On average, the regular Starbucks customer visits a location around 16 times a month. There's no risk of losing your credit. This means that Starbucks always has a surplus in its conveyor belt of income from a product that hasn't even sold yet. You can even give someone else credit in the form of a virtual or physical gift card. Think about it. How many gift cards have you received that you never bothered using? Exactly. Starbucks now has access to loads of virtual transactions that will never be cashed in on. So, for precisely the same reason Amazon is pushing gift cards instead of markdown sales, Starbucks is making a killing off gifting and excess credit. An estimated 10% of all gift cards are completely forgotten about. So, the coffee conglomerate is making pure interest without selling a single product, and the public willingly pays for it. To put it into perspective, Starbucks made $1.6 billion just off unused credit in 2022. And it's all interest-free. Their app is now the second most used app in the United States and Canada combined. In 2022, Starbucks looked at $8.4 billion in user revenues, compared to the $2 billion that was held by every bank in the USA combined. And as far as online transaction apps go, the coffee empire stands only behind PayPal in proceeds. $8.4 billion. Not in profits, nope. That's not even taking profits into account. That's just excess money floating around. The massive amount of money we're talking about isn't tied to the monetary standards that the banking system works with. No transaction fees or interest rates. It's not tied to any specific form of currency, gold or oil. It's tied to the mere possibility of buying an iced selfie latte and driven by the loyalty of its customer base. And in the unlikely event that Starbucks might lose popularity, they have no fear of sudden massive withdrawals. Because you can't withdraw your credit. It can only be used by making purchases at Starbucks itself. There's no risk to Starbucks in this credit system at all. While the world worries about where the powerhouse is heading, Starbucks has started to slowly pour some cream outside of the coffee-making business. The company has looked into better options for farming its prized beans by investing in almost 300 acres of land in Costa Rica. They've started a scholarship fund and have loans available for farmers, and they've partnered with record labels and TV. But those verified ventures aren't nearly enough to explain what Starbucks is using all of those billions for. They've never been required to have an audit of their finances, so we're left guessing. It's highly unlikely that a company with access to that amount of money is just interested in bean farming and charity. The most likely path they're taking is to invest in short-term bonds. They're hard to trace and an easy way to increase capital quickly. Or they might be buying up businesses and land through shell companies. But until they are forced to hand over their books, there's just no way to know how far their power extends. And the American banking system is quaking in their boots. How do you play the game against an opponent when you don't know what pieces they have on the board? Sure, Starbucks could continue to be perfectly content with just keeping its buyers happy. Or it could turn full supervillain and create its own currency and banking system and overhaul the entire face of the monetary structure of the planet if it wanted to. When you take into account that Starbucks is worth over $100 billion, they aren't at war with any country. There are no legal limitations set against their practices. Starbucks just needs to want to extend its caffeinated tentacles to turn the world upside down. And no person or enterprise with that amount of power and money has ever, in the whole of human history, been too decent to take another bite of the juicy green apple when given half the chance. The question isn't whether or not Starbucks will extend its reach. The questions are when and how they'll do it. What do you think? Is Starbucks going to be satisfied with $110 billion worth of happy customers? Or will stores move inside the bank, where you can have your peppermint mocha while you wait to apply for that housing loan? Or do they already own half the world and we don't even know it yet? Drop your opinions down below and tell us how far the mermaid will swim before her logo replaces the Bank of America stripes on your credit card. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new releases. And if you can't wait for a new video, check out some of our other videos on your screen right now. See you next time.